We've got 2 more questions left on the script. We might as well ask them both. Zwella, first off, when the podcast gets started back up, we're going to ask this. I hope Dutch is feeling a whole lot better. My question is, what kind of interactions did Dutch have with Mr. Anderson / Mr. Kennedy while he was on his TNA run? Thank you guys for everything you do, and I watch and look forward to every podcast episode.
Mr. Kennedy did well. I liked him. Good worker. I liked him. Good interview. And he would just come to the back and say, "What you got?" And we'd give it to him. He said, "Okay." He'd go work on it, come out, get in the ring, do his job. No problems. Never had any problems with the back. Never had any problems with anybody. Actually, a pleasure to work with. Like that guy.
I remember at one point he used to come out with a T-shirt that said, "Pro wrestling is real and people are fake."
Who did?
Kennedy / Anderson.
That's an old one. He actually, I saw that shirt probably 10 years before that. So everything in wrestling is stolen anyway. We're worse than comics. We see something that's, one comic sees another comic tell a joke, he'll go and he'll change it around a little bit, but he'll change it around to fit him, so it becomes his original. I forgot the comics that were going to sue each other for stealing each other's jokes. I think that is about stupid. But I don't know if they won that or not. What's your next question?
Well, I just wanted to ask about Kennedy a bit more. In 2007, 2008 in WWE, seemed like he was heading to the top, and then I don't know if he accidentally injured somebody like Randy Orton, but I think he fell afoul of the wrong person. And then also, I think he popped for steroids as well at that time, and it just all seemed to just go.
No, I think it was Orton. I think Orton had hurt a couple of guys doing something. And I think Orton complained. You know, Orton could hurt people too if he wanted to. But I think something happened with Randy Orton. I think he went in there and laid down the law that and not working with him. And instead of Randy Orton just taking him out, they just took Mr. Kennedy out of all of it. So that announcing and coming down the aisle, I kind of like that, but I don't know whose idea that was, but that was actually the best part of it. He was a ring announcer. He was good too.
Yeah, he had more success in TNA. He would become a 2-time TNA heavyweight champion. I don't know, any last thoughts on Mr. Kennedy's booking or just performance or anything like that you want to finish off the show on?
Well, Mr. Kennedy he had a clean slate with me. And I never heard of him. The thing with him and Orton, or when he left WWE or whatever it was then, I heard the same thing you did. But he never said anything about that to anybody. I mean, I never heard the story from him or whatever happened. But he was getting ready for a good run, and then that happened. Funny, little bitty things in WWF and E can get you gone. And sometimes it's not the guy doing something, it's this. Running that mouth, saying the wrong thing about the wrong person at the wrong time, and then it getting back to the source. Of course, whatever happened here had to get back to Vince, because who was the guy? I may have told this before, Brad Maddox.
Yeah.
I told you that story, right?
He said pricks on a promo.
And it was a dark promo. And Vince, it just hit him in one of the moods. He was sitting back to the go position. And I was sitting in there too, and he went, "Did he say pricks?" Of course, I didn't say nothing. Stay in my lane. Somebody said, "Yes, sir." He said pricks. And then he told the guy, I think his name was, I'll think of it in a minute. It's not Carano. He told Carano, he says, when he comes back, fire him. Then I come back and I saw Carano take him down the hallway and talking to him. And then I saw him, he had to leave the same way. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, I saw him walking down with his bag. He was leaving. He was fired. Didn't take long.
Oh, outrageous.
Because he was like the co-promoter on air. He would do something like that, him and some girl. They weren't using him well, or it was kind of but anyway, that's how he got going.
Just to finish up on Kennedy or Mr. Anderson, unfair.
Unfair?
Unfairly impacted his career.
It did. Thing. Well, when you get fired from WWE, where are you going to go? I mean, he was probably making, even before the big contract, he's probably making, or he could have made 200, maybe more. But back in, what year was he fired?
It says 2009 here, I think. So I had it in 2008 in my head for some reason, but around that time.
Well, anyway, that's a pretty hefty job to lose, just like that. And yeah, it did impact his career. What's he doing now?
I think he's got a wrestling school out there somewhere. I'm just reading. According to Kennedy, Orton also persuaded John Cena to complain about Vince McMahon about Kennedy's in-ring performance, which prompted McMahon to release Kennedy from his contract. So apparently Cena and Orton both ganged up on him.
Well, I hate to hear that, because I think that was unnecessary. But I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it.
Stay in your lane.
But the ultimate act of it being completed was done by Vince. And Vince was coerced into this by Cena and Randy Orton, the two top stars at the time. So he either pacified them or kept Mr. Kennedy. So he didn't have much of a choice either.